So let's say now you've done all of that, you've decided you can retire, and you're ready. So you retire, you're at home, and you get word that your employer has now transferred your retirement account into your IRA. Your 401k or your 403b is now in your IRA. Maybe your pension has also been distributed to you in your IRA. It's in cash. There it is. It's all yours. Best of luck. Hope it lasts you your whole lifetime. Now let me quickly add a disclaimer here. That's not your only choice to roll the money over into an IRA. It's a very common choice, but you do have other choices, and lots depends on your personal situation. How do you then know what kinds of investments are the right things for you? Well, once again, there are questions. It seems like that's all I do is ask people questions. The first question, the goal here is to understand what your investment personality is. So the first question is, how much risk is too much risk? Well, it's an abstract question and it's very hard to answer. The truth is, there are no investments without risk. Let me repeat that. There are no investments without risks. Even the most conservative investments, even putting it in a coffee can in the backyard, there is risk associated with that. So we get at the question this way. On a scale of 1 to 5, thinking about this pool of money, on a scale of 1 to 5, if 1 is the most conservative you can possibly be, and 5 is the most aggressive, we're talking pork bellies and they're going to be delivered onto your driveway, where would you put yourself with this? Now, I have asked this question and had people say, I believe I'm a -2. Not very often, but that has happened. And every once in a while we get someone who says I'm a 5. But most people would put themselves somewhere in the middle, 2.5, 3, 3.5. And what that tells me is that person needs to have a blend. There needs to be something in that portfolio that's safe and predictable and income producing, and then there needs to be something that's a little bit more growth oriented for later on. These are the bonds and these are the stocks. Another way of kind of understanding your attitude towards risk is to ask another question, which is just to think a little bit about what your experience has been with investments. If you have been an investor in the past, how did that go? How did you feel about it? Were you comfortable? Did you bail out? If you did bail out, why? Were you successful, not successful? Just to begin to get an understanding of what your temperament is. I believe that after the last year that we've had, we all have a much better idea of how we can tolerate risk because we've seen so much volatility. But the most important question that you can ask yourself as you begin to invest this money is, what's your greatest concern? Very, very important. Because whatever your greatest concern is, it needs to be accommodated in the portfolio that you design. So if you say, for example, I am scared to death of outliving my money, then we need to be sure that we build into that portfolio something that's going to be growth-oriented, that's going to last and be for later on down the road. On the other hand, you may say, my highest priority now is income. I have to generate income. Then we'll tilt the portfolio towards bonds that are the income-producing vehicle. It's very common to see a couple have differing priorities. Oftentimes, if we have a man, let's say, for example, who is older or a good bit older than his wife, he doesn't care so much about his own life expectancy, but he's very worried about her having enough after he passes. So it's important to be able to very clearly state what's your highest priority for this money, because sometimes something has to be sacrificed. And then it's kind of fun to think about, do you want to be hands-on or hands-off? Do you want to be really involved in your investment? Do you think that'll be interesting? Some people love it. They love to get on the computer every day and look at their balance. Not last year, they didn't like that at all, but generally speaking, they want to see how they're doing, they want to track stocks, they want to know what investment advisors are thinking, what the strategists are thinking. And other people couldn't care less. They just want to see the bottom line. Am I making money or am I not? Am I on track? If you want to be hands-on and get involved, then we use certain types of products and vehicles that require quite a bit of attention. If, on the other hand, you really don't want that at all, then we use vehicles that are somewhat self-propelled. So that's an interesting thing to think about. And then the last thing that we ask you about is an appropriate asset allocation. They say that the greatest contributor to success in a portfolio, along with time, is asset allocation. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to have both bonds and stocks, how much bond and how much stock? What's the percentage? So then we look at your personal situation. Does a particular need dictate an asset allocation that's different? If you say, for example, this portfolio must generate $10,000 a year for me, then we know we have to put enough money into bonds to generate $10,000 or income-producing stocks. Or it might be dictated by your temperament. You may be able to withstand a volatile, aggressive investment from a textbook point of view, but if you can't sleep at night, then it's not worth it. So it's very important to make a decision about what kind of asset allocation you want, and then it's equally important to revisit that asset allocation on a regular basis.